Welcome to this short talk on why I believe that the evidence for the worldwide flood is irrefutable. This may seem a rather strange concept that the evidence of the worldwide flood should be in that status of being irrefutable. But if you think about it, either the evidence of the worldwide flood is irrefutable or it doesn't exist. The reason for that statement is because if you think about what the worldwide flood states, it is that the whole world at some point in recent history was completely covered in water, and all the living things, apart from those that were in the ark and those that were fishes and such like, were killed and buried by that water. Therefore, if that did happen in recent past, one would expect to see evidence for it. And that wouldn't just be a little bit of evidence. That would be evidence across the whole surface of the earth, which is 500 million square kilometers. And I would expect that evidence to be potentially 4 to 10 kilometers deep. That is a lot of evidence. That is over 2 billion cubic kilometers of evidence. Now, I know of no other event in history that comes anywhere close to that amount of evidence that we'd expect. If I was looking at the city of Troy, that might be 1 square kilometer to the depth of 50 meters. Very little evidence by comparison. So the evidence is either going to be there or it's going to be absent. Therefore, either the flood took place or it didn't take place. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else in history, nothing else in the Bible that should leave that amount of evidence. Therefore, there's only probably one event in the whole of ancient history that could be proved irrefutably, and that is the worldwide flood. Now, do we find that evidence? Well, if we look at the kilometers of material that we are talking about, yes, we do. We find layer upon layer of rocks laid down by water. We find as well that encased in those rocks laid down by water are trillions of dead things, dead animals, dead plants. Indeed, some of our fossils and some of our rocks are made up entirely of dead things, such as chalk and limestone and coal. Here we have, you might say, a complete library of archaeological evidence for a worldwide flood. And when we now consider the most recent data that we've got, which shows that fossils contain soft tissue, which only lasts thousands of years, and that coal and fossils also contain carbon-14, which again lasts only thousands of years, we have something here that looks very like the irrefutable evidence for a worldwide flood that I was saying we needed. On top of that, if we look at the work of Michael Ord, the landscapes we see around the world are exactly what we'd expect if there had been the runoff of water from a worldwide flood. And so, my conclusion is this. It may well be that if we had eyes to see and ears to hear, we are in fact standing on a monumental testament to that great and terrible judgment of God, known as the worldwide flood. And I would say that that evidence is irrefutable, and it is unique in all of human history that we should have such an event, and the evidence is there if we're prepared to recognize it as such. Thank you for listening.